Good morning, Chef Abucha Torim. We are in parashat Vayigash. Unbelievable parashat, like all the parashat. But a minute, look at Joseph. This guy, what he's going through and he's unbelievable, this guy. What is the source of his power? There is this story, and I always tell this story. This guy is sitting in a fancy restaurant in New York, gourmet restaurant, one of the best, sits there and he looks at the menu, wow, and he's already starting to, he feels the food already, the smells and everything. And he wants to order, but suddenly he sees in the corner of his eye a Jewish guy sitting there in the restaurant. And he was really a Jew hater, and really anti-Semite. And he calls the waiter, doesn't know what to do, so he calls the waiter. Tell me, how much is the main course? He says, $150. Good restaurant. He says, okay, I want you to give all the guests here in the restaurant, I'm paying. The best, $150. He says, there are 35 people here. You know how much money you're talking about? He says, don't worry, I'm good for it. But not 34 or 35, so only 34. This guy, the Jewish guy over there, you don't give him anything. Okay, the waiter brings to everybody this beautiful, unbelievable gourmet portion, and he looks at the Jewish guy, looking that he's going now to be depressed. The guy is smiling to him. Huh? Makes him crazy. Calls the waiter. A good bottle of wine, how much? He says $100. Okay, everybody except this guy. Okay, brings everybody. Now he looks at this Jewish guy, no, and he's smiling even better. What's going on here? He calls the waiter. Dessert, how much? $80. Everybody except this guy. Now, definitely it's going to have an influence on him. It's going to look, everybody's getting everything for free, and he's getting nothing. And he looks at the Jewish guy, and now he's smiling. He couldn't bear it anymore. So he gets up and he goes to this Jew. He said, I want to ask you something. You know, I gave everybody the main course. I gave everybody a bottle of wine. I gave everybody dessert, and I didn't give you anything. Didn't you feel a little neglected? Didn't you feel anything bad about it? He says, no. He says, what do you mean? He says, I am the owner of the restaurant. You know, the feeling. If we can get to this feeling, we can get to the highest level of Joseph. Joseph doesn't matter where he is. He can be in jail. He can be thrown by his brother to the pit. He can be a slave. He can, whatever. He is successful everywhere, and he smiles. And this is unbelievable. What is the source of his power? The source of his power is, can he connect to his dreams? He knows that those dreams are true. He knows that God is going to bring him to be a king. And that's what's happening eventually. And this is what we have to understand and realize. That eventually God promised that. We are Am Sgula, you know, talking about Am Sgula. You can look around and see it without anything to do with religion, by the way. See all the invention that the Jewish people gave to the world. Unbelievable, good Nobel Prize, whatever, wherever you look, the Jews are there. So you see that we are a chosen people. And God promised us the Geulah. So let's smile. It doesn't matter what happened. We don't see the whole picture. We see only a part of the picture. You remember also a story I always say. In the Second World War, there were German citizens that were staying in England. Now, the English people didn't know, the English government didn't know what to do with them. Because from one side, they're the enemy. They are Germans. But on the other side, they're Jewish. If they send them to Germany, they're going to be killed, murdered. Going to the gas chambers or whatever. Didn't know what to do. They decided we have to expel them from England. So they took prisoners from jail that had many years in jail for crimes they did. And they put them on a boat, says, you were taking now those 400, I think it was around 450 Jewish people, taking out those 450 Jews to Australia. Of course, they also were not exactly a Jews lover. And the minute that the boat was out in the sea, they stole everything the Jews had, all the suitcases and all the belongings, and throw all the rest to the sea. Jews came to Australia with nothing. Can you imagine to yourself the feeling? Not enough they were expelled, not enough they will allow in a foreign country far away. They've got nothing. Nothing! Listen, years later, the diary of a commander of a submarine, a German submarine, is being discovered. And there is this unbelievable story. At a certain date, which was the date of this British ship going to Australia, the German submarine saw a British ship and decided to bomb her. You know, also was very funny from one side that the ship has got no guard, like a normal ship going out, not a warship going by itself and in a time of a war. Anyway, while they're doing it, they suddenly see that there are suitcases and papers around on the sea, in the sea. So they send somebody to check, and they see papers in German papers. So they realize that there's something here strange. Maybe this is just, it's not a British ship, it's a German ship of people that are are escaping from who know what from the war. So they send the telex or whatever you call it to Germany. And the Führer, Hitler, gives them an order: you escort the ship till it gets to the shore safely. You will guard it. So imagine to yourself this picture. In the middle of the war, a British ship with Jews on it is being escorted and guarded by a German submarine. Unbelievable. And when they got to the shore and they went back to the sea, the German submarine realized that they are not German, they are British, and they bombed the ship and killed everybody there. Now, the Jews thought that it was the end of their life. They lost everything, and they didn't realize that all the things that those people throw to the sea, those things saved them. When I told this story a few times, so a guy in shul stood up and says, I had a teacher that was from this ship. It's unbelievable. And he tells the story. And then, second time I was telling it, one of the guys in the shul got up and says, my grandfather was on this ship. You know, unbelievable. Who knows what's happening? Who knows what is in the future for us? We know one thing. God promised us. Am Yisrael Chai. God promised us the salvation. God promised us the Geulah. And this is something that we have to put inside. Now, if we look at Joseph in the Parsha, we also see something unbelievable with this guy Joseph. He's a real tzaddik. After everything they did him, he's only doing good to them. But one of the interesting things in the Parsha is when he says, Ani Yosef Od Avichai, which is also, this is this rebuke that they say, look what those a few words got in there. You know, Judah is approaching, Vayigash Judah is approaching Joseph and telling him the whole story again, while because he thinks that Joseph, he doesn't understand what they're talking about, and the translator is translating things in a different way, and this is why he is blaming them for being spies, and this whole story is going on. So he's going on the story again, and he says, you know, I have to take my brother back because my father is going to, my father is going to hurt, he's going to get a heart attack, my father, because if we take, and again he says, you can look at it. I don't want to read it. You can look at it and see, again and again he says he's talking about his father. You know what? I'll show you a few things. Yosef is going to talk about you. You are like, we've got a father, an old father, and a child, and his brother died, and he stayed alone, and his father loves him. And you told us to take him, And we says, Lo yuchal anar lavo. He cannot leave his father, because if he leaves his father, his father is going to die. But you said you have to bring him. And here we got him, and we cannot go back without him. We cannot go because we cannot go and see our father. You're taking also, he told us, oh father, you're taking also the other son, and read it, you will see it again and again and again. So then Joseph cannot even go through it, and he tells them, he's taking everybody out, doesn't want to shame his brother, which also another interesting thing. And he sends everybody out, and he says, Ani Yosef ha'od avichai. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? What do you mean? 2 minutes ago, you heard the whole story about your father, that he is alive. So what are you asking? But this is what Joseph is telling them. He's not telling them, Ani Yosef achichem. Ani Yosef, I am Joseph. When you wanted to kill me, when you sold me to the Ishmaelite, and did you think about our father? Ha'od avichai? Is my father still alive? You telling me a whole story about father, how you cannot go back without his son. But didn't you think about it when you sold me? And this is the rebuke. And suddenly they realize the truth behind everything. They realize this is Joseph. The dreams are true. And we did a big mistake. We wanted to kill him, and then we sold him, which is even worse, because who knows what would happen with him. Baruch Hashem, he stood against all the odds, and he's still keeping the mitzvahs and everything. But, wow. And they say they died. They got a heart attack, and God gave them back the neshama. Can you even imagine to yourself? It looks like a happy end, but it's not a happy end. They realized that all those years they were living with a mistake. They thought he is an arrogant guy and this and a liar, whatever. And suddenly they realized that everything they thought is wrong. And look what Joseph is doing now. In the beginning, they were afraid. Then he's told them, Ani Yosef achichem. I am your brother. You sold me into Egypt. And now, don't be sad. Al tatzvu. And don't worry about it. Because you sold me. God sent me here with a purpose. I'm going now to give you parnasa, to give you food, to give you everything. 2 years there is anger. And God sent me here, so I will be here, so I can provide for you. And again he said, look how he's trying again and again to convince them that he hasn't got any bad feelings. He said, now you have to understand, because they are still worried. He said, you didn't send me, God sent me here. It's not you who sent me here. He sent me here and he put me the master of Pharaoh. I am the king. I am the second in kingdom of Pharaoh. So he's really trying to change the picture. Instead of blaming them in what they did to him, selling him and doing this unbelievable thing, terrible thing, he is praising them. He's changing the picture. Says, why? You didn't do anything. You're just messengers of God. God did it. And for what? Look who I am. So everything is for the good, for the best, for the better. And this is exactly the story for those German Jews that got to Australia. By the way, Baruch Hashem, they all being successful, because you know when you start from nothing, you grow, and what you go through in life, you can stand a lot of things. And they all, by the way, Baruch Hashem, were very successful. So this is what Yosef is convincing his brother, that not only they are not guilty, but they are messengers of God. And maybe you can add to this this story about the king who had a diamond, a big diamond, and suddenly something happened. It got broke a little, and didn't know what to do. You know, big diamond is worth a lot of money, and everybody told him, now that you had this scratch, the only thing you can do is to cut it into 2 or maybe even to 3. But you know, then you haven't got the biggest diamond. Then it's only another diamond, and it's not worth anything like the big diamond. I didn't want to do, asking. And suddenly one of his consultants came. He says, I've got an idea that is not only going to save the diamond, is going to make the diamond worth even more. The king said, well, are you stupid or something? What are you talking about? He says, let me show you. You see, he's taking the diamond, looking at, and he's showing the scratch. He says, you see, I take this scratch and I do like this, and I do like a crown inside. And then I engrave in the diamond your name. Now you will have the biggest diamond with a crown in it and your name. This is going now to be worth even double, if not more. The idea is very simple. What Joseph is trying to do is to convince his brother that he loves them so much, that whatever they did, they didn't do it. God did it. God sent him. And he's not scratched. He became the king. So from this scratch, from this episode, terrible episode, what came out is the best thing that can happen. And you know, there are two sides to the coin. The idea is very simple. As we said in the beginning, we have to believe, increase our belief that God is with us. And we can see through history, can see through all what Am Yisrael is going through, to see the wisdom of Am Yisrael, to understand that the Geulah will come. And this was the idea of Hanukkah. We just yesterday finished Hanukkah. See the 8 candles of Hanukkah lighting the darkness and telling us the story of Joseph, the story of Am Yisrael, the story of Am Yisrael getting out of all the problems, believing in God. And the more we believe, Aboteach be'Hashem, chesed yisoveni. The more we believe in God, the more we increase our trust in God, the quicker we will see the Geulah. B'meira b'yameinu. Amen.